second. I just got used to it at this point. Just like, yep.
Bring me up when I've been down. This only happens when you're around.
I just got used to it at this point. Just like, yep.
Proclaimed, and by the happy hollow of a tree escape the hunt. No port is free, no place that guard a most unusual vigilance does not attend my taking. When I was 18 and going to university and leaving home for the first time, my mum gave me 3 pieces of advice. The first was don't study too much and be a boring person. The second was learn how to cook and you'll always make friends. And the third was no one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. And while the cooking tip was extremely useful and it's how I made all of my friends and probably continue to do so, the one I took with me was that no one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. And ever since, I've written it in the top of my journal and carried it with me nearly every day. Because I think that that feeling of not being good enough is something that everybody will face at least one point in their life, whether they don't think they're talented enough, or they're not good enough at their job, or they're not pretty enough, they're not in the right place, they're not with the right person. Everyone is kind of battling that. And even though I am quite an optimistic person, I'm generally happy, and I never look at something and think that it's hopeless. I'll always try to fix it. It's something that I have really struggled with too. So I left university at 21, and I was very doe-eyed and naive. And I went to London and decided I was going to be on the West End, and I was going to be a huge musical theatre singing star. And I applied for drama school and auditioned, and although they said that I passed the singing and the acting and my personality was great and I was passionate, that as someone with cerebral palsy and a disability, I would never make it in theatre, and that door was completely closed. And then I should pack my dreams up in a little box and put them away and completely forget about it. And I have been singing since I was 10 years old. I'm now 25, so it's most of my life. And I think it's the biggest part of who I am. So to have someone tell me that that was not going to be my life was devastating. So I went back to school and started studying for a PhD in Shakespearean intertextuality, which is very boring and very dry. Super boring. I quit my theatre company and saved up to buy a house with a boyfriend that I knew I didn't want to be with, and I was thoroughly miserable, completely and utterly miserable. Whilst I may escape, I will preserve myself, and never thought to take the basest and most poorest shape that ever penury and contempt of man brought near to beast. My face I'll grime with filth, blanket my loins, alf all my hair in knots, and with presented nakedness outface the winds and persecutions of the sky. The country gives me proof and precedent of bedlam beggars who with roaring voices strike in their numbed and mortified bare arms, pins, wooden pricks, nails, sprigs of rosemary, and with this horrible object from low farms, poor pelting villages, sheepcotes and mills, sometime with lunatic bands, sometime with prayers, enforce their charity. One day I was sitting in a class, and it was a creative writing class, and the project was that we could take a piece of literature and adapt it for any medium we wanted to, and I instantly decided I was going to write my own musical. And my lecturer looked at me and said that I was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong place. So I went home that night and my boyfriend proposed to me, and I broke up with him. I quit my master's and I moved back home. My whole family thought I had gone crazy. They thought I'd had a midlife crisis like 20 years too early. But I knew that I was miserable and hiding from myself and lying to myself about what would make me happy and what I wanted to do. And 6 months later, I got my first job in America teaching kids musical theatre. And then 2 years later, I moved here to study musical theatre and realised that even though this board of very important theatre people had told me that this would never be my life, as long as I let them tell me that, it never would be. So I learned that you embrace what you believe in, embrace who you are, and you run with it, and you can achieve anything you put your mind to. Poor Charlie God, poor Tom, that's something nothing yet. Edgar, I nothing am. No one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. I heard myself proclaimed, and by the happy hollow of a tree escaped the hunt. No port is free, no place that guard and most unusual vigilance does not attack my taking. Whilst I escape, I will preserve myself. Never thought to take the basest and most horrid shade that ever penury and contempt of man brought near to feast. To my face, I'll grind with filth. To blanket my loins, I'll pull my hair in knots. And with presented nakedness, I'll face the winds and persecutions of the sky. The country gives me hope of a precedent of bedlam beggars with roaring voices, strike in their numbed and mortified bare arms, pins, wooden pricks, nails, sprigs of rosemary. And with this horrible object from low farms, poor pelting villages, sheep cotes and mills, sometimes with lunatic bands, sometimes with prayers and towards their charity. Poor tally God, poor Tom, death comes me yet. Edgar, I nothing am.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, man. I hope you enjoy it.
To every article, I boarded the King ship. Life is awesome, and I wanted to write this really angry monologue to give to you guys. And I sat down to write it, and I wasn't mad. I realized life is good. There are good days, bad days, and all kinds of things. But I was almost killed. I was almost run over by a van going down a one-way street the wrong way, reversing. And my backpack saved my life, and I'm here talking to you right now. So I just kind of realized how special life is now on the beak, down the waist, the deck. In every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprits I flame distinctly, then meet joy. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, or momentary sight outrunning a renai. I was almost roadkill. I was almost roadkill by a van. And if I'm gonna get hit by a car, it's not gonna be a van. That's not how I'm gonna die. I don't know how I'm gonna die, but it's not that way. Lots of bad things have happened to me recently for me to be angry about. I went to the ER earlier this year, twice in 8 days. Two separate things, equally retarded. First time, a moth flew into my ear and got stuck there. Just kept crawling deeper and deeper. I had to go to the hospital. I couldn't even stand up straight. I get to the hospital, they freak out. I'm like their priority patient. Bring me to the back. 3 nurses are pinning me to this gurney, this bed, as the doctor's digging in my ear with the tweezers. He gets it, pulls it out, and then he's like, "That's just a leg." Just a leg. He's like, "We're gonna need Dr. So-and-so down here." So another nurse is coming, she's holding me. I have 2 doctors working on it. They can't get it out. In the meantime, everyone in the ER starts showing up, so around my bed, the curtain's open. There's 15 people, patients, other nurses, other doctors. In the meantime, there's a 3rd doctor. They're all watching, because I'm the guy with the bug in his ear, so I'm the most interesting person they've met. They told me I was the best patient they've had in the past 3 months. Not because I'm nice, because I had a bug in my ear. So finally, they decided to flush the side of my head out with water, so I almost black out. And I hear them say, "I think we see it." And they like pull it out, and it's still alive. They put it in this little container for me, and it lived for 3 more days. And it still bothers me, like a lot. Like that's what nightmares are made of. I think about it a lot. And then 8 days later, it ripped the side of my finger open at work and bled all over this museum I was working at. I had to like wrap it up and walk myself to the ER at midnight, only to like lose feeling in my arm in the ER, take the bandage off, and start bleeding all over the ER, which I again became their like favorite person because I just ruined all their stuff. Fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread trident shake, not a soul but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. Life is hard and terrible. Weird things happen. And I wouldn't change it at all because I'm doing what I love. I'm live, which is the best part of this. And I'm here just doing Shakespeare to you guys. And thank you. I'm one fan. It was so good.
But I'm a big fan.
Thank you. And there's a lot of things in this life that you like have to do that like you don't want to do, like eating fruits and vegetables. And some people don't want to do that, but you do that, then you go and you don't like fruits and vegetables. Because I saw that. You have to do it. Then you can go do the things you love, like eat chocolate, lots of it. All but mariners plunge in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son Ferdinand, with hair staring, then like reeds, not hair. The first man that left cried, hell is empty and all the devils are here. If you want to beat those devils when they come, just love your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
To every article, I boarded the king's ship. Now on the beak, now on the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places, on the topmast, the yards and bowsprit, but I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors, oh, the dreadful thunderclaps more momentary, in sight, outrunning, or not, the fire, cracks of sulphurous roaring. The most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread tried and shake. Not a soul but felt the fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then all fire with me, the king's son Ferdinand. The hair I'm staring, then like reeds, not hair. The first man that leaves cried, hell is empty, and all the devils are here. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What are your names? Antonio.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right.
Good.